You're watching CBS7 News at 9 on the CW and live on the CBS7 YouTube channel with Alexandra, Macia, and Tom Teeperteller.
My mother's father was also Army Air Corps, served in World War II, shot down 5 times. It's just the stories that you hear about how we got to be where we are. It's just amazing to know that, hey, I'm now going to be a part of that.
Today is the United States Air Force's 76th birthday. Coming up in just a few minutes, we hear from a member of the United States Air Force about what it means to be a member of this military branch. Good evening and thanks for joining us for CBS7 News on the CW, and thanks for joining us live on the CBS7 YouTube. I'm Alexandra, Macia, and we start tonight with continuing coverage of Midland Animal Services. Midland Fire Chief Charles Blumenauer promised an emotional crowd of Midlanders that he would raise the standards at Midland Animal Services. This afternoon's promise comes after a series of controversies this summer. The Animal Services Board meeting was meant to introduce the new management structure and discuss the details of an investigation into the death of a dog named Luna. However, lengthy public comment brought many Midlander grievances into the spotlight. About 65 citizens brought up issues like understaffing and a lack of standard operating procedures. The chief promised to bring the animal shelter to the higher standards. One Midlander said the series of incidents at Midland Animal Services, plus the daunting stray population in the area, is a crisis. She still has hope.
It can't get any worse. I mean, what's been going on at the Midland Animal Shelter, it's not just their fault. I mean, it's staffing issues. They're having a hard time finding a vet. It's just a variety of different things. But yes, I'm very hopeful.
Board members acknowledge the failure to follow protocols. They express faith in new leadership who can bring new solutions and perspectives.
Fire department is an ISO 1 class fire department. We're the best. We offer the citizens the best fire service you can get. I don't know what the correlating standard to an ISO 1 animal shelter is, but we're going to meet that, and we're going to try to beat that, just so you know.
Meeting today with the citizens to kind of let them come to us with their concerns, us being able to address them, and to let them know change is coming, and it's going to be positive change, and we're going to be better.
The next Animal Services Board meeting is set for November, when Chief Blumenauer says there will be updates on progress at Animal Services. And all new at 9, 2 3-month-old puppies were found Friday in a tar pit in West Odessa. By the time the 2 puppies made it to the vet, they were fighting for their lives. The Humane Society of Odessa was contacted by Animal Control after workers nearby found 2 puppies stuck inside a tar pit.
Had it in their eyeballs, it was in their mouths, it was in their nose, and the longer they sat, the more it just stuck. So I'm sure it was very painful.
The 2 are believed to be a hound or shepherd mix. It's unclear what the tar pit was being used for.
They were so badly covered in tar that they were stuck to the inside of the truck. They had to go get soap and water to get them unstuck.
The puppies were immediately transported to the vet, who worked on them for 6 hours Friday night and another 4 hours Monday.
They could have passed away. Their body was under too much stress.
The vet actually texted us Friday night and said, I don't think they're going to make it through the night. They may have ingested some of it and they're very critical. So we're lucky that they're even alive.
Unfortunately, the incidents of abuse the Humane Society sees are ongoing.
Whether they're dumped injured, whether they're shot, dumped with newborn babies without anyone saying anything, sitting in the sun all day, abuse, collars embedded in their necks.
The Humane Society says people seem to believe that by dumping their pets, someone will find them, and that couldn't be farther from the truth.
They either end up getting hit by a car, dying from the elements, getting, starving to death or dehydration. They are lucky if they find their way into a rescue.
The Humane Society, a nonprofit, was quoted $4,000 for the vet bill. If you would like to help donate to the 2 puppies, you can visit our website at CBS7.com for more information.
Oh my gosh, I only wish and hope and know that when my time comes, my time of need comes, that there will be a program such as this, because I love my dogs and I don't want them to go to a shelter.
Families often turn to Hospice of Midland after a loved one is terminally ill to help with everything from care to wills to even last-minute family affairs. But it's not just limited to those needs. We often think about the human side when it comes to hospice, but many of the patients in hospice have pets, and sometimes it's up to the hospice care to help find those pets a new forever home. Hospice of Midland takes care of many things from medical treatment to getting a will done. But it's not just people's needs that they worry about. On occasion, they're also trying to find new homes for patients' pets.
Because we want to make sure that our patients that are terminally ill know that we are going to find a forever home for their little pet.
When pets are left behind, they're often older pets. That makes adjusting to a new home and finding the right fit difficult. And tracking crime now, a 35-year-old man was shot on Saturday. According to the city of Midland, the shooting took place around noon and happened in the 100 block of North Tilden. He was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and this is an ongoing investigation. We will, of course, keep you updated as soon as we know more. And it's time to take a look at weather. Chief Meteorologist Tom Teefer is here to tell us what we can expect. Tom?
Well, we are going to see more 90s in our forecast as the last week of summer is going to be summery. Let's go ahead and take a look outside. Well, on the radar right now, I want to show you that most of the scattered showers, thunder showers are dying down for tonight. Maybe a few sprinkles left here into the mountain areas is really about it at the present time. As rainfall amounts, we'll go back one here and show you that we did have 7 100s in Marfa, 1 100 in the Snyder area, but that's really been about it. And looking at Fort Stockton this evening, things are quiet. Temperatures are cooling off now into the 80s out there across most locations, into the 70s into the mountain areas, so very nice there. And there's not a lot of breeze. Those showers and thunder showers died down. Well, not much to make a lot of gusty conditions out there. And again, those forecasted high temperatures the rest of this week. Plenty of 90s on the way and hanging out through the start of the weekend.
Thanks, Tom. Looking in the community, if you have some project ideas for transportation needs around the Permian Basin, there will soon be a chance for your voice to be heard. The Permian Basin Metropolitan Planning Organization wants to hear those ideas. The area covered by the Metropolitan Planning Organization includes Ector County, Midland County, and parts of Martin County. The organization is looking for project ideas for walking pedestrians, cyclists, and drivers. The MPO wants the public's input because no one knows the area better than the residents.
We really want the public involved in this because everybody has stake in what's going on around here, whether you own a trucking company or you're just driving on a four-wheeler around the two cities in this whole region. There's a lot that we all have a stake in here.
This is the second time that the Metropolitan Planning Organization is asking the public what they want in the plan. When the call for projects was put out in 2018, residents suggested ideas accounted for 20 to 30% of the final plan.
Once we receive people's suggestions, recommendations on projects, we will score them in accordance with a priority project selection criteria that we have, and then we'll, if appropriate, we'll insert them into the new 2050 plan.
Public hearings of the ideas will be scheduled in November and December. To submit an idea, you can find the form on their website at permianbasinmpo.com. And one of the nation's youngest military branches is celebrating its birthday today. The United States Air Force is now 76 years old. To celebrate the U.S. Air Force's birthday, Midland College had a mini party where one member of the Air Force who just came back from tech training spoke and handed out cake. He was side by side with a veteran who served in the Air Force for 6 years. The newest member of the United States Air Force spoke about what it means for him to wear his uniform.
The fact to join something that's greater than what I am, it really means a lot to me. Not only for what I hold on my left side, but also my right.
Although the word air is in the name of their military branch, many of the men and women that serve there aren't all pilots. In fact, only 4% of personnel in the Air Force are pilots. Midland College says they will have more events to celebrate the other military branches' birthdays as well as Veterans Day. Now for a look at today's top headlines, shown here in real time with real viewers on CBS7.com. See all these stories and more by downloading our app or visiting our website at CBS7.com. And still ahead, 5 Americans wrongfully detained in Iran are on their way back to the United States. Next, we hear what critics are saying about the exchange in your news across the globe on CBS 7 News at 9. Several wrongfully detained Americans are on their way back to the U.S. following a high-stakes diplomatic exchange between the Biden administration and Iran that included a multi-billion-dollar deal. CBS News' Skylar Henry is in Washington with the details as critics express concerns over the swap.
5 Americans are finally homeward bound after being wrongfully detained in Iran. Following months of secret diplomatic talks, Iran released the Americans as the Biden administration unfroze nearly $6 billion in oil revenue for the Islamic Republic.
It's very good to be able to say that our fellow citizens are free after enduring something that I think it would be difficult for any of us to imagine.
In a statement celebrating their release, President Biden also called on Tehran to provide a full account of what happened to Bob Levinson, an American who went missing years ago. But some critics, including a number of Republicans, say the deal with Iran could incentivize hostage-taking and worry the money might be used to sponsor terrorism.
These monies can be used to support terrorist organizations, Hezbollah, Hamas, and venturesome actions of Iran.
The Biden administration says the U.S. Treasury can prevent that and only allow humanitarian purchases such as food and medicine.
The funds were moved to another bank where we have absolute oversight of how they're used, and we have absolute confidence in the process and the system that's been set up.
Meanwhile, tensions between the two countries remain high on several fronts, including Iran's nuclear program and Tehran's sale of bomb-carrying drones for Russia's war in Ukraine. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
In addition to releasing the funds, President Biden also granted clemency to 5 Iranians who are facing charges in the U.S. for nonviolent crimes. And continuing in your international news now, Ukraine's president will be in Washington later this week to meet with his American counterpart and top lawmakers as Congress debates President Biden's request for roughly $21 billion in additional aid to help Ukraine fight the war against Russia. Scott Play of 60 Minutes traveled to Kyiv and spoke with Vladimir Zelensky. He says his country is grateful for all the support so far, but the world needs to remember Russia isn't just Ukraine's problem.
Look, if Ukraine falls, what will happen in 10 years? Just think about it. If the Russians reach Poland, what's next? A third world war? What will it take?
On the front lines, Ukraine says its forces regained control of 2 villages in the eastern part of the country over the weekend.
Well, we are going to be looking at some summery weather for this last week of summer before it changes with the start of fall. We'll talk a little more about that coming up next.
Now, from the CBS7 First Alert Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Teepertiller.
Well, let's take a look at the rainfall reset, showing you what's happening for today, the month, and the year so far. Well, we did see about 3/10 of an inch of rain this weekend from those scattered showers and thunderstorms with that front early Saturday morning. So our yearly rainfall total now up to 2.69 inches, but as you can see, we're still well below where we should be. And it doesn't look like anything too heavy in the way of rain this week. What we had in the mountain areas is dying down for the time being, and it looks like tomorrow may see an isolated thunderstorm or two there, and also the eastern Permian Basin as a dry line starts to set up. As you can start to see a little bit of a bend here in this west to east flow in the upper levels. That's that ridge of high pressure. It's building back in across West Texas, keeping us into the 90s, and that's going to continue to be the case as we move in towards the next few days. Pretty quiet across the state of Texas other than the scattered showers, thunder showers we had into the mountain areas. A little bit of activity across the northeastern portions of New Mexico right now, as we are looking at, again, temperatures today on the hot side out there, mid to upper 90s. Most areas, though, staying out of triple digits, so good news there, as it looks like we'll see temperatures like this for the rest of the week. Now, taking a look at the West Texas Futurecast, quiet overnight, of course, but tomorrow morning we'll see lots of sunshine to wake up to. By the afternoon hours, an isolated shower, thunder shower trying to pop up into the mountain areas. Better bet's going to be here along this dry line that's going to set up from around the Snyder area back towards Colorado City, Sterling City, and near Big Lake. Thunderstorms forming up along it and rapidly moving off to the east. So the severe weather threat is east tomorrow. We're just going to see quiet conditions across most areas of West Texas, other than an isolated shower, thunder shower into the mountain areas. Nothing doing in the way of rain tonight, as we'll see temperatures slide down into the lower 70s. Mid to upper 90s coming up tomorrow in the forecast, as we'll have southwest winds behind that dry line help warm things up across the area, and they could be a little bit gusty. Hot and mainly dry conditions through Wednesday. Now on Thursday, there's going to be a little wrinkle in the atmosphere, a little upper level disturbance that could put a shower, thunder shower in the forecast later on Thursday evening into early Friday, as temperatures stay on the hot side. Fall starts Saturday, and then we'll start to see temperatures cool off just a little bit as we move in towards the first week of fall.
Could we see another government shutdown? We take a look at the possibility when we return to CBS7 News at 9 CW. A potential government shutdown is getting closer by the minute. Some progress was made over the weekend. A group of House Republicans have come to terms on a short-term funding bill. However, nothing is set in stone and the clock is still ticking. John Loring reports.
There's less than 2 weeks for Capitol Hill to try and prevent the government from going broke and be forced to close its doors.
I do hope that we can avoid a government shutdown. In 2013, when Republicans shut down the government back then, it was very, very costly to millions of Americans.
6 Republican members of the House, 3 from the House Freedom Caucus, and 3 with the Main Street Caucus, closed a deal Sunday on a short-term spending plan they hope will prevent a shutdown. But will the rest of the GOP conference give it the nod?
We will do that this week. I gave them an opportunity this weekend to try to work through this, and we'll bring it to the floor, win or lose, and show the American public who's for the Department of Defense.
Republican sources close to the matter say the agreement has a 31-day continuing resolution that comes with a GOP-approved border security package. But some House conservatives are already giving the idea a thumbs down.
I strongly support their effort to stand firm and demand the kind of budget cuts necessary to make a small down payment on fiscal responsibility and reform.
In the meantime, the deadline is inching closer.
The House Republican Civil War is hurting hard-working American taxpayers and limiting our ability to be able to solve problems on their behalf.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
If House Republicans approve the bill, it will likely be squashed by the Democratic-led Senate, which means Congress wouldn't be closer to preventing a potential shutdown. Still ahead, pop the champagne. Engagements are expected to pick up steam next year. Signet Jewelers, the largest jewelry company in the U.S., says a spike in engagements is coming. According to the company, which owns Zales, Jared, K Jewelers, and Blue Nile, and Diamonds Direct, proposals happen about 3 or so years into dating. The pandemic had caused a disruption in dating and therefore a lull in engagements. But with the pandemic behind us, Signet expects marriage proposals to start rebounding in 2024. In total, the jeweler expects 2.5 million couples to get engaged next year. Tom, I wonder what that means for the wedding venues. I mean, they're going to be pretty packed in the next few years.
I guess we're getting back to the same old after COVID and everything, and everybody's getting ready there with a lot of jewelry.
People might have to start thinking ahead for booking their wedding plans.
You might have to start thinking
I
ahead.
know. I might have to, hopefully.
Anyway, on a weather note, we'll take a look at this forecast. It shows you still the summer season out there, and it's going to stay that way for the rest of the week as those temperatures will be into the 90s. Fall starts on Saturday officially, astronomical fall. So we are going to be looking at some milder temperatures after that for next week. Still in the mid 80s. We want mid 60s. Okay, it'd be nice, but those nighttime lows get down there a little bit, and we're going to see a few showers back in our forecast. So a little bit of a change on the way as we say goodbye to the summer season here this weekend.
Well, it doesn't look like we'll be getting sweater weather anytime soon. All right, thanks for watching CBS 7 First Alert News at 9.